It's so beautiful in the hills of Tennessee, where the amazing Judd family has lived in separate houses but minutes apart. And through the years, they've spoken publicly about their challenging family life, with a mother who was wounded by trauma and depression, but filled with dreams and drive. As we arrived, Ashley waited at the door.
Good morning, my fellow Kentuckian.
Her grief shared by her sister and the stepfather they call Pop. The kind of grief where the darkest heartbreak is framed by the brightest light.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. Mom loves it.
As someone said, the size of the loss is the size of the love. And that can be infinite.
And you know, I appreciate so deeply and really want to start by thanking everyone for their outpouring of love and condolences. And that my sister and I, we have a depth of gratitude. We're very, and I also want to address, Diane, you know, why we're doing this. And I say us, I'm here as an individual sitting with you by myself, but both Sister and Pop have sort of deputized me in certain ways to speak on behalf of the family at this early time, before things about the 30th of April become public without our control. You know, whether it's the autopsy or the exact manner of her death. And so that's really the impetus for this timing. Otherwise, it's obviously way too soon. And so that's important for us to say up front.
Where do you want to begin?
There are many places to begin. I think that I would start with my mother knew that she was seen and she was heard in her anguish, and that that she was walked home. She was walked home. And that when we're talking about mental illness, it's very important and to be clear and to make the distinction between our loved one and the disease. It's very real, and it is enough to. It lies, it's savage, and you know, my mother, our mother, couldn't hang on until she was inducted into the Hall of Fame by her peers. I mean, that is the level of catastrophe of what was going on inside of her, because the barrier between the regard in which they held her couldn't penetrate into her heart, and the lie that the disease told her was so convincing.
And it's the lie that you are not...
That you're not enough, that you're not loved, that you're not worthy. And I mean, her brain hurt. It physically hurt. And I'm tasked with an exceedingly difficult task in disclosing the manner of the way my mother chose not to continue to live. And I've thought about this so much, because once I say it, it cannot be unsaid. And so, because we don't want it to be a part of the gossip economy, I will share with you that she used a weapon. Mother used a firearm. So that's the piece of information that we are very uncomfortable sharing, but understand that we're in a position that, you know, if we don't say it, someone else is going to.
It was a day like another day.
It was a mixed day. So I visit with my mom and pop every day when I'm home in Tennessee. So I was at the house visiting, as I am every day. And Mom said to me, "Will you stay with me?" And I said, "Of course I will."
Ashley went outside to bring in a comforting person who had arrived. When she came back,
I went upstairs to let her know that the friend was there, and I discovered her. I have both grief and trauma from discovering her.
She prays that everyone will honor the rest of the details as private.
My mother is entitled to her dignity and her privacy. And so there are some things that we would just like to retain as a family. And so I want to be very careful when we talk about this today, that for anyone who is having those ideas or those impulses, you know, to talk to someone, to share, to be open, to be vulnerable. There is a National Suicide Hotline.
Were you walking with your heart in your hand every day? Worried?
I really accepted the love my mother was capable of giving me because I knew she was fragile. So when I walked around the back of their house and came in the kitchen door and she said, "There's my darling, there's my baby," and she lit up, I savored those moments. And every time we hugged and she drank me in, I was very present for those tactile experiences because I knew there would come a time when she would be gone, whether it was sooner or whether it was later, whether it was by the disease or another cause.
But when the music was playing, Naomi Judd said that going on stage was like getting to fly.
Don't you wanna be there by my side?
Mom was a brilliant conversationalist. She was a star. She was an underrated songwriter. And she was someone who suffered from mental illness, you know, and had a lot of trouble getting off the sofa, except to go into town every day to the Cheesecake Factory where all the staff knew and loved her. And I know everything about them because she told me everything about them. Or Dwayne at Walgreens, you know, who needs to get a dog. That's the way she was. And she always had $100 bills stuffed in her bra, and she was passing them out to the janitorial staff. You know, just an unfailingly kind, sensitive woman. She was very isolated in many ways because of the disease. And yet there were a lot of people who showed up for her over the years, not just me.
Including her sister Winona, who sent a letter to share with us.
So this is from Sister, and we talked a lot about doing this together, and what she shared is just so her. I'm thinking a lot about you today. I love you, 4 exclamation points. I've been looking at photos of us when we were little. Laugh out loud, good Lord, in capitals. You were such a cutie pie. I laugh and I cry, and I thank God we have each other. I need to take some time to process, and I need this time to myself. I'm not ready yet to speak publicly about what happened, so I know you understand why I'm not there today. We will do this piece differently. We have each other, and I'm grateful we're connected as we walk together through this storm. I just can't believe she's gone. I'm here. This will take time. I love you, dear sister. I'm proud of you, and I'm here whenever you need me.
The family wanted us to emphasize, if you are struggling with thoughts of suicide, worried about a friend or loved one, help is available. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255 or text TALK to 741-741 or visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org for free, confidential, emotional support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even if it feels like it, you are not alone. And the family really wanted that message out there.
So important to remember that.
Yeah.